Hi guys, I'm back with another short video today. It's not really car related per se, but I'm back in my lift barn and I've had these 9 industrial type fluorescent fixtures for about 15 years and I've been meaning to get around to changing them out to LEDs, but I just haven't had time. But today I'm doing it and I just wanted to show you what one is like to change out. It's really fairly simple. So as you can see, this one I haven't changed out yet, and this one I have changed. So I'm going to show you how to change out these lamps right to LEDs. Like I said, you've probably seen a number of videos on this. Okay, the first thing you want to do is take off the diffuser off the light fixture if you have one. Next thing you're going to want to do is take out the lamps. You might want to shut the power off when you do that. The next thing you're going to want to do is take off the wire cover off the fixture, if you have one of those. Here's the inside of my fixture. If you haven't done so already, now would be the time to turn off the power. Okay, so I lowered my power wires, which are my hot, would be colored, and mostly whites will be neutral if it's wired right. So you want to disconnect that, making sure that your power is off. Okay, after your wires are disconnected from the ballast, which would be the power wires, make sure you got a wire cap put back on to your hot and neutral wire for the time being. Now we're going to cut the wires off from the ballast, because we're gonna get rid of the ballast. We don't need that. Okay, and I've got to move my ladder over, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, now I'm on the other side of the fixture where the other set of sockets are. These particular ones have blue wires coming off of them. The other side, they were red. So we want to cut these wires not too short, because we want to make a splice on these blue wires. Now we're all disconnected from the ballast, and we'll take out this one screw that I have and get rid of the ballast. I'll be right back. Okay, on this end where we had the blue wires, there's one blue wire coming out of each socket. We're gonna splice an extension wire on here. We want to get it long enough so we can reach our power wires, which are way back this way. So right now I'm going to splice a piece of 16 wire on to these 2 socket wires. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've made an extension from those blue wires of the socket down to where the power is going to be. So what I want to do then is splice the blues, and it could be the reds, it doesn't matter. Splice the blues onto a power wire. In this case, I'm going to splice it onto my hot wire. The other sockets have a red wire, and with that red wire, we're going to splice it on to the neutral, like right here. Okay, so right now I've got my blue socket wires connected to my hot for power, and I've got my red socket wire connected to my neutral of the power circuit. Never mind this red wire that you see, that's a ground wire. It should have been green. Okay, so now, believe it or not, our wiring is finished, and now we're ready to button up with our wire cover, then our lamps, and then our diffuser. Yeah, I've left the diffuser off just for a second, just to show you how bright these lights are going to be. So I'm going to flip the switch now. And here's the light lit up. Like I say, it doesn't have the diffuser on right now, but they're quite bright. Oh, before I forget, I wanted to show you what these lamps look like. These are the 4-foot LED lamps. Size-wise, it's a T8. Here's the existing T8 lamp. They both have the same, or supposed to have the same color rendition. This is a 6000K color rendition, and so is the LED that I picked out. Plastic covered, very light. As you can see, I think you can see this. This is the label on the LED tube. It doesn't matter which end of the tube you decide is going to be for your power or your neutral. You just pick one and keep it the same way. Here's my ballasts that are in the majority of my fixtures that I'm taking out. Here's the wiring diagram that's on the sheet that comes with the box of lamps, the LED lamps. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You want to make sure you get a lamp that's going to satisfy the majority of the ballast you have to replace. Otherwise, you have some additional wiring you might have to do. Because some of the lamps, I think the LED lamps, some of them have the power and the neutral just on one end. So here's another example. This is another type of fixture I have with an older type ballast. This is the rapid start ballast, not the electronic one. And it uses the old T12 fluorescent lamps, which are the fatter ones, not the skinnier T8s. Same procedure though. This happens to be a one socket, a single lamp fixture, so it's one socket on each side. Just cut the blue wires here. You can choose to connect them to either your white neutral or your black hot with your incoming power to the fixture. And the same thing with the other side. This happens to be red. You can cut these reds, tie them together to either the neutral or the power wire of your incoming power, whichever one you didn't choose for the other socket. Okay, the final example I want to show you today is I have some of these fixtures. They're 2-lamp fluorescents. They came from a big box store and they are of questionable quality. They have an electronic ballast, but I don't know if you can see this. On the one end, there's a short wire coming out of the one side of the ballast, a blue one that's going to one socket, and then there's a red wire going to the other socket. On the far end, there's the two sockets, and they just have a jumper between them. Also, there's no cover to protect the wiring in this fixture, so I don't even consider it safe. Okay, I drew up a little diagram of that fixture that you just saw up on the ceiling, and this is what we have. This ballast, got your incoming power, that's your black and white wire on the ballast. You got these two far sockets with just a jumper between them, and the other end of the ballast you've got your red wire going to one socket and the blue wire going to the other socket. Kill your power, cut the wires, take out the ballast, and then you're left with this. You've got this jumper on the far end. You're going to have to extend a wire, a number 16 solid wire, and that will be either your hot or your neutral. In this case, I just showed it as the hot wire. On the other side, you cut your blue and the red wire, take another piece of 16 solid wire, splice this together. These two and this wire extension will be spliced together, and that'll be either your neutral or your hot wire. In this case, I chose it as the neutral. Alright, so I think that should work. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm pretty sure this will work. Anyhow, I'm sticking to this diagram right now. It may change, but for right now, I think that'll work. So this is a pretty quick installation. It's not very difficult at all. And you're going to save a lot in power. Because the ballasts I took out were 0.84 amps for two F32, the T8s. And now these LED lamps are 13 watts a piece. So it's quite a difference. Power has got to be cut in half on the consumption. Just remember, when you're hooking these up, one side of the fixture, those two sockets, or one socket, whatever you have, goes to either your neutral or your 110 volt power wire. And the other side of the fixture, those sockets or socket goes to what you didn't use, either the neutral or the power. Oh, and one other thing I want to mention about if you're going to use your existing fixture, make sure your socket is in good shape. A lot of times, depending on how old your fluorescent light is, the heat from the ballast and over time, sometimes the socket can become brittle. Just make sure that the sockets are in good shape also. So if you got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments down below. Sometimes I forget and I'm not as thorough as I'd like to be because I don't make the greatest videos. But anyhow, thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.